Okay, let's kick things off and dig into a really pivotal moment. We're looking at Exodus chapter 5 today.
Right. This is where things really start to heat up. It's that first major confrontation between Moses and Aaron and, well, Pharaoh himself.
Exactly. And our mission sort of is to unpack that face-off and the immediate fallout because it doesn't go how you might expect.
Not at all. It's a request for freedom, right? But it meets this wall of power.
Yeah.
And the consequences, they hit the people hard.
So let's set it up. Moses and Aaron, they go to Pharaoh. What's the actual message they bring?
They deliver it straight. It's from the Lord, the God of Israel, and the message is, let my people go so that they may hold a festival to me in the desert.
A festival. So not even let us leave forever at this point, just a temporary religious observance.
Precisely. Just a temporary leave for a specific purpose. But Pharaoh's reaction is instant and completely dismissive.
What does he say? The text is pretty clear, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. He fires back. Who is the Lord that I should obey him and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go. Just flat-out rejection.
Zero respect for their God, zero intention of complying. He basically says, my authority is the only one that matters here.
Exactly. And Moses and Aaron, they try again, right? They clarify, just a 3-day trip. They mention, they're worried about plagues or violence from their God if they don't go.
But Pharaoh twists it, doesn't he? He doesn't just say no again.
No. He immediately accuses them. He says they're just taking the people away from their work, calls the Israelites numerous, and basically blames Moses and Aaron for interrupting his labor force.
And then comes the escalation. This is where it gets really brutal.
Right. Pharaoh doesn't just deny their requests, he actively retaliates. That same day, he orders his slave drivers and the foremen overseeing the Israelites.
Get this. He tells them, you are no longer to supply the people with straw for making bricks.
Let them go and gather their own straw. But, and this is the key part, require them to make the same number of bricks as before. Don't reduce the quota.
Wow. Make the same amount with fewer resources and less time? Why? What's his stated reason?
According to the text, he says they're lazy. He literally says lazy. That is why they're crying out, let us go and sacrifice to our God.
So he sees their religious request as just an excuse to slack off.
Pretty much. And he thinks making the work harder will keep them too busy to listen to Moses and Aaron's lies, as he calls them.
And you see the impact right away. The people are forced to scatter all over Egypt, desperately searching for stubble to use instead of straw.
Yeah, imagine that. After a hard day's work, now you have to forage for materials but still meet the exact same impossible target.
And the slave drivers, they're pushing them relentlessly. Complete the work. Just as when you had straw. No leeway.
But it gets even worse for a specific group, the Israelite foremen. These were Israelites appointed by Pharaoh's own officials to supervise the brickmaking.
Ah, so they're caught in the middle.
Totally. And when the brick quotas inevitably aren't met, because how could they be without straw? The text says these foremen were beaten.
Beaten for failing at a task Pharaoh himself made impossible. That's horrific.
So these beaten foremen, they actually go directly to Pharaoh. They make an appeal asking, why have you treated your servants this way?
They explain the situation, right, no straw, same brick quota, it's impossible, and they're getting punished for it.
They even try to shift the blame, saying the fault is with your own people, meaning Pharaoh's slave drivers who are demanding the impossible.
But Pharaoh's reaction, does he listen?
Not a chance. He just doubles down, repeats his judgment. Lazy. That's what you are, lazy. Sticks to his story that this is why they need more work, not less. No empathy.
And this leads to maybe the most gut-wrenching part of this immediate fallout.
Absolutely. The foremen leave Pharaoh knowing nothing's changed. They're still in deep trouble. And who do they run into right then?
Moses and Aaron, the guys who started this whole thing from their perspective.
Exactly. And their reaction is, well, it's better. They don't direct their anger upwards at Pharaoh anymore. They turn right on Moses and Aaron.
What do they say?
They say, may the Lord look upon you and judge you. You have made us a stench to Pharaoh and his officials and have put a sword in their hand to kill us.
Wow, they blamed them for making things worse, for putting them in danger.
It's a really human reaction, isn't it? Under that kind of pressure, beaten, facing impossible demands, they lash out at the ones who upset the, however miserable status quo. They see Moses and Aaron as the cause of their increased suffering.
So how does Moses take this, hearing this from his own people, the very people he's trying to help?
It clearly hits him hard. The text says he goes back to the Lord, And he basically asks, what's going on?
He questions God.
Yeah, he says, "Oh Lord, why have you brought trouble upon this people? This is why you sent me." He points out that ever since he spoke to Pharaoh in God's name, things have only gotten worse for the Israelites.
And then the kicker. And you have not rescued your people at all.
Right, it connects everything. That first step towards liberation, that initial ask, didn't bring relief. It brought immediate, intense suffering, and it even fractured the community, leading to blame and doubt, even from the leader himself.
So, summing up this deep dive into Exodus 5, we see a bold, maybe even modest, initial request,
Met with absolute power and fierce pushback.
which leads directly to increased hardship, a worsening of conditions for the people.
And that hardship then fuels blame, not against the oppressor, but against the agents of change, and creates doubt in the mission itself.
It really underscores how taking that first step towards a challenging goal, especially against entrenched power, can paradoxically make things much harder before they get better, if they get better.
It's not always a smooth path upwards. Sometimes the first reaction is just more pain, more conflict.
Which leaves you with something to think about. What does it really mean, and how do you navigate it when the very act of trying to bring positive change results in more suffering for the people you want to help and even makes them turn against you?